Alberta Beef Industry Conference, joined by Jeffrey Fitzpatrick-Stilwell, Senior Manager of Sustainability at McDonald's. Now, McDonald's is obviously a key player in defining sustainability. Why are you chasing sustainability?
Well, for us as a global beef brand, and one of the things we talked about today is that beef is hugely important to our business. We're judged as a burger business. And then looking at sustainability is another one of those touch points with consumers where they tell us they want safe, high quality, and sustainably and responsibly sourced food from us. So we can explain to them the safety and the high quality, and now we're working on sustainably and responsibly sourced items.
And one of your goals is to be sourcing sustainable beef by 2016. Where are you at in that process?
So what the goal is to begin sourcing a portion of our global beef supply from sustainable sources in 2016. And so that's why we've come to Canada to launch our first full-scale pilot project around verified sustainable beef. And so we're taking the lead from the Global Roundtable for Sustainable Beef and the Canadian Roundtable for Sustainable Beef and using the principles and criteria that they've approved. And then we're going to pilot some indicators that would be indicative of sustainable production, but in the Canadian context. And that way, what we're going to learn from that is, what's possible? How can we help producers tell their story with some proof points attached to it? Because we've talked about there's, trust issues with large multinational brands. And so this is one of the ways to have a third-party verification process in place where we can go to producers. We know that the vast majority of them are doing all the right things, but this is a way for us to be able to connect with consumers and tell that story for them and give them the confidence that their beef and then eventually other products are being sourced in a sustainable manner.
Do you have producers involved in the pilot project now?
Yeah, so we've been working with producers really from the get-go, which our announcement was on January 7th of 2014. So for the past year plus, we've been working with producers, with producer groups, with really everybody along the value chain. And we're now to the point where we're hoping in the next few weeks actually to get out on farm to start looking at what some of these indicators mean in a verification sense in the real world on a real operating ranch. So we have a lot of great support from the Canadian producer community and a lot of volunteers that say, yeah, come on out to my operation. I'm interested to see more about what this is about, more about what you're looking for, and also I think I'm doing a pretty good job, so I'd like you to take a look at what I'm doing, and hopefully I'll learn something along the way too.
What kind of producers are eligible to be a part of that pilot?
Yeah, so we want a real mix, again, so that it's a pilot project. There's going to be successes and failures. That's the point of a pilot, to learn from both of those. So we need a mix of geography, we need a mix of size, so small operations, large operations, everything in between. We are somewhat constrained by just how many we can manage in the time frame that we have. And one of the other constraints is because the elements along the value chain, so we're verifying from birth to burger, so from cow-calf all the way to our patty plant in Spruce Grove, Alberta, is that the elements along the way have to be verified as well. So your beef does, right now we're going to be verifying the JBS facility in Brooks, Alberta, and the Cargill facility in High River. So your beef does have to end up at one of those two facilities for the context of the pilot. We source 80% of our beef from Alberta, so that's not going to be difficult for us to do from where we get our beef now.
You guys are using indicators such as involvement in the Verified Beef Program and BICs. Would those be necessary right off the bat for producers for the pilot?
It's not necessary. So what the indicators are doing, and it's a great distinction that this is verification and not certification. So it's not policing to a standard. It's demonstrating adherence to the criteria, to the indicator, and the producer can demonstrate that in any way. So when we talk about the verified beef production, those are industry supported and developed programs. So if the indicator says, manages my operation in accordance with verified beef production principles, most people would demonstrate that by showing that they have been VBP trained or VBP registered. But if you had another way to demonstrate, here are the VBP principles, and here's how I can demonstrate that I adhere to them, that's the same thing too. And that's where the third-party verifier, so it's not McDonald's, it's not Cargill, it's not anybody else, it's an independent third party that will look at what you're demonstrating and say, yes, what you're showing me adheres to VBP principles, therefore I will score you accordingly.